Hello, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, I've been looking around and at all the people who are out frolicking out and about at the pool, at the beach, at the lake, having a great time. And, it got me to thinking because there's also a lot of talk that's been going on in media, social media, and also among my clients around the weight that was gained during the pandemic. So some people called it the pandemic 15. There were other names for it. I can't recall them at the moment, but the point was that a lot of attention or a lot of talk around the fact that people were putting on weight and, men and women. There was a lot of nervous eating, anxious eating, emotional eating that was going on during that time. There weren't a lot of outlets. So people were drinking and eating more, and naturally the pounds were being put on. And I saw an article recently that was really saying that it's really not fair to be making fun of people or making light of people's pain, the way that people were coping during a very stressful, anxiety rich time, a time when there was a lot of fear in the air. And when there are times of fear, oftentimes we do reach for those basic comforts. Food is one of the most basic comforts in the world. And the article was arguing that we should really, change the dialogue around this and have from compassion, for one thing, around people who might have been overindulging during the pandemic. And I would agree, because I do think that naturally many of us lost our coping, our usual coping methods, whether that was going to the gym or just going out and being out and about and doing more out in the world. And those things that create natural balance in our lives. And instead, most of us were stuck at home, isolated or more isolated than usual, alone with our thoughts. And, what do we want to do? We want to find something to take us out of our thoughts, or we want to find some reward or some joy or some comfort. And so there you have food and drink and unfortunately, what has come out of this is a lot of body shame, and also some new disordered eating that's been cropping up in people who really didn't even have that before, people who didn't really diet or have unhealthy relationships to food per se, or who didn't fixate on the kinds of food they were eating or amounts of food they were eating because it was just a normal part of their lives. And now it's become an issue. And so there are a couple of things I was thinking about this. One is that, just similar to what the article was saying, that we're just emerging out of this year of fear. And so really what we need to do now is have compassion for ourselves and for everything that we went through, and certainly not to give ourselves a hard time if we did not cope in an ideal way. And so that's just one piece of it, is like, it was a rough year. It was a rough year for everybody that I know. And, everybody experienced it in different ways. But if you were one of those people who was, reaching for those extra chocolates or whatever it was, give yourself a pass for a really rough year. And so then with the emergence of these new neuroses or new, maybe less than healthy relationships to body and food. And again, for some people, this is a new thing. For some people, body image and dieting and that struggle has been a part of their lives for a long time. And perhaps the pandemic just added to that. And for other people, they're having a new struggle with food or with body image, or going out into the world. And now it's swimsuit season, and we're supposed to all walk around, in skippy bathing suits, and not everybody's feeling great about that. Now, I have talked to people who say that the joy that they're experiencing just at being out in the world again and living their lives again has really negated any insecurity that they have about their body. Like they just, it's so nice to be out and feeling free and enjoying the pool or the boat or whatever it is, that they really don't care. And I think that's great. And and that's, ideally that's how we would all be going back out into the world, right? Is just like, well, this happened, and maybe I put on a couple of extra pounds, but it's not the end of the world. And really what's important is seeing my friends and my family and enjoying myself again. Now, if you're one of the people in the other camp who is really sort of worried about how you're being perceived now, and does everybody notice that I've put on weight, or do people think I look older or less attractive than I did a year ago? So aside from being just trying to be compassionate with yourself, because I do think, again, everyone has gone through a tough year and a lot of people coped in a similar way. But the other thing is that, and this is true for, again, for people who have spent years struggling with diets or eating disorders or what have you, and that's that, you know, we all have this miraculous body system that is really taking care of us. You know, unfortunately, in our culture, especially for women, we have been taught to distrust our bodies. We have been disconnected from our bodies in really healthy ways, but we've especially been taught to distrust them. And that's from, of course, being objectified and needing to look a certain way, skinny or sexy or whatever that thing is, young. And so when I say disconnected, I'm really talking about, the mind body connection. And the mind body spirit organism is one whole thing, right? It's one organism. But we have been taught, or we have this idea that really the mind controls the body, or should be able to dominate the body. And so what this has done is, instead of letting our body support us, we spend a lot of energy trying to control it and its natural processes. Now, what does this have to do with, putting on a few pounds during the pandemic? Well, part of it is this, that once we all get back out into life again, and we're living our lives with a healthier balance of extracurricular activities, work, play, social life, things are going to balance out. We're not going to have to overcompensate with, the pint of Ben and Jerry's every night. We're going to be emotionally fulfilled, and so we're not going to need to reach for find fulfillment in food, or any more than we used to. And so things are going to work themselves out. Our bodies know what to do. They know how to get back into balance. And because our mind and our body are one, when our mind is more balanced, our body is going to be more balanced too. Now, what that looks like for each individual person is very different. And that's where, setting aside certain beauty standards comes into play. And that's a whole other video because, but if you can start with this idea that your body is wise and innately healthy, and it actually wants to support you, that is going to help in any kind of struggle with weight or body image, of that sort of thing. Because really this reconnection that needs to happen it's a healing of the relationship between the mind and the body. We have this false idea that they're separate, or that the mind can somehow control the body, and nothing is more false. Your body is a miraculous machine. It's doing all sorts of things every moment that are completely beyond your awareness. And it knows how to digest food, and it knows how to metabolize it properly in a way that's healthy for your body. It knows how to store fat for future emergencies. But again, when the body is given a chance, it's going to move towards balance. It's moving towards balance. And it's only when we get in the way and we try to control things that that natural process gets interrupted. When we actually try to impinge our will on something that's actually working perfectly, that's where we run into trouble. So I'm just offering this as maybe a different way to think about your body. And what I'm talking about is something that's being talked about in the intuitive eating circles as well, which is, it's an approach to eating that has been developed to help people with eating disorders. And it is all about like really listening and starting to listen to your body again, because again, if you have a disordered eating habit, a disordered eating, whether it's an actual eating disorder, which defined by, the DSM, or if it's just something that feels really uncomfortable to you or causes you pain. Either way, it doesn't matter if it falls into a criteria of a diagnosis. If it's causing you pain, then it's disordered eating, and it's out, it's a way that you might be out of balance or out of communication, healthy communication with your body. And so it might mean that you're trying to control your body or trying to will your body in a certain way, as opposed to listen to your body and, give your body what it needs. So in the intuitive eating movement, it's about that, learning to listen to what foods your body needs, learning to relearning, to notice when you're hungry and when you're full, when you're eating for emotional reasons, and when you genuinely need a snack. And this is, of course, what we have known how to do all of our lives. Like, babies, you don't have to teach them when to be hungry, and when to eat and when to stop eating. They eat when they're hungry and they stop when they're full, right? And so just like crawling and walking and learning to eat, we sometimes have to relearn this because we've learned some unhealthy ways of relating to food and our bodies. But again, if you can think about it as your body knows what to do, your body is wise, your body has millions of years of evolution supporting its processes. It knows exactly how to keep you healthy. It knows how to keep you beautiful, and beautiful being from the inside out, healthy. And so if you can remember that and start to nurture that relationship that might have gotten a little frayed over the years, remembering that your body wants what's best for you, your body supports you and loves you, and if you can love it in return, then it's going to be a really happy relationship. So that means, one thing that means is throwing diets out the window. I mean, billion-dollar industry there based on helping people try to manipulate and control their bodies. And I don't think it's really working most of the time. For a few people, it works, but for a lot of people, it results in a lot of disappointment. So moving back to, again, listening to your body and being appreciative of everything your body does for you every day. You would not be right here, right now, were it not for your body working its miracles, pumping your blood, digesting your food, cell regeneration, breathing, everything that we don't have to think about because it's just happening for us. So just again, in the name of swimsuit season, and I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about that, and again, if you're one of those people who's just enjoying yourself, well, by all means, keep doing it. But if you're struggling a little bit with that, just remember your body took care of you this year. You know, your body kept you healthy. Your body helped you through a very difficult time. And so maybe some appreciation and some compassion for yourself if you don't feel like you're your perfect physical self this year. So that's on my mind this week, and I hope you are out frolicking, and I hope you are out enjoying the warm weather and the pool and the lake and the beach and all of that, and do more of that. So we'll have a great week, and I will see you next week.